Hello and welcome to another episode of Now Showing, where I will be doing quick movie reviews. It is February 1st, kickstarting the first of these that I'm offering in this new 2024. Going to try to do these a little bit more frequently, also mix in some TV reviews. But first, today I'm looking at a couple of movies that are opening in theaters tomorrow, one a wide release, one a limited release, both of them dealing with young female protagonists who are going through some difficult changes, transitions, or things in their lives. The first one I'm going to be looking at is Fitting In. It's hard to be a teenager. It is even harder when you get a diagnosis that changes your whole world. That's the case with Fitting In, a new film that examines the struggles of a 16-year-old girl named Lindy who is diagnosed with MRKH syndrome. The diagnosis upends her plans to have sex, her presumptions about womanhood, sexuality, her future, her relationship with her mother, and most importantly, herself and who she is. This film comes from writer-director Molly McGlynn. It's semi-autobiographical based on her own experiences. That sense of understanding this world and this diagnosis and what it means for Lindy and her situation comes through this script and the narrative. In the film, Lindy is played by Maddie Ziegler, while her mother is played by Emily Hampshire. I appreciated their dynamic and their back and forth, which goes through kind of a range of emotions from where we see this relationship when they kick off, feels maybe a little Gilmore Girls-ish. And then obviously going through the course of events here, it kind of changes. We see Lindy struggling with that, her mother continuously reaching out and using her own issues, her own struggles as a way to connect and bond back with her daughter. I really liked Emily Hampshire in this. We've seen her do a lot of more humorous things. She was notably in Schitt's Creek. This is a little bit more of a serious performance. I thought she gave a nice layered performance. There are some really sweet and humorous moments in this mother-daughter dynamic. McGlynn has a great feel for the characters and the world, obviously owing to her real experience. I appreciated that in the construction of the film and the way she brings out those emotions. If I was going to say there was one thing I struggled with, it's a little bit the performance of Ziegler. She's still a young actress. I think she's still growing into what it takes to hone her craft and to be a lead. And sometimes her performance felt a little too flat for me in some scenes and took away from elements that I felt should have been a little more hard hitting emotionally. In the end, it's an interesting story. It's well delivered, and I think it's going to speak to a lot of people, including some young women who are going through similar struggles. And I think this will be an interesting one to check out. As I mentioned, it opens in limited release tomorrow. I'm giving it 3 stars out of 5. If it's playing near you or if you're interested, you can find a place to check it out. And that is the film Fitting In. The second film I'm going to take a look at is a film called Scrambled. This one opens in wide release. A lot of the publicity has been about Argyle, Matthew Vaughn's new film, but this one also opening in wide release, playing in a lot of theaters. As I mentioned, kind of turns out to be a week for films about women and their unique struggles. In Scrambled, a new comedy, Leah McKendrick looks at the pressure to have children. In the film, Nellie, who's played by McKendrick, is kind of the eternal single girl. She's a bridesmaid. She's there for all her friends as they get married, as they have babies, as they move forward in their lives. But it kind of leaves her feeling empty and searching for connection. She's 34 years old, and she kind of feels that clock ticking at a wedding where she is one of the bridesmaids. She has a hilarious encounter with an older woman who kind of slaps the reality into her and tells her her time is running out. She needs to be more serious. She's just endured yet another breakup, so she kind of borrows money from her brother to freeze her eggs and preserve her future options. And this causes her to kind of go through a process, brings to light all these feelings that are swirling around inside her regarding her future, her desire to have someone walk alongside her. She begins to examine her former relationships, at times even going and connecting with some of those former boyfriends. This is a very emotional film, and from a tonal standpoint, it has a lot of comedic moments, but it has some very deeply serious and emotional moments, particularly in the third act. It's a scenario that I think will have relevance for a lot of people who are going through that same stage stage in life, I was really moved by some of this. For McKendrick, she not only stars in the film, but she wrote and directed it, and it's also deeply personal. So this is another film what she said is based on her own experiences and the understanding and emotion that comes through this kind of trial circumstance. And you really feel that in the film. I appreciated her performance and the emotional journey. I really like the supporting cast too. Clancy Brown, Andrew Santino, and Laura Cerrone are her immediate family. I enjoyed the friends and people who popped up. June Diane Raphael has a really hilarious sequence, kind of as the older woman at the wedding that kind of slaps a little bit of truth into her. The story is engaging. It will speak to people who are on a similar journey, and there are some of those wilder comedic elements you would expect in a genre film like this. I'm giving it 3 out of 5 stars. It's in theaters opening on Friday. Could be a decent date movie. Just a good, fun comedy to go and check out. So that is a look at a couple of new films that are opening tomorrow. If you want to keep up with me and all of the movies that I'm checking out, you can follow me on Letterboxd at Nighthawk7734. Join us on Sunday evening as Eric and I will look at the film Argyle and the films of Matthew Vaughn on This Week at the Movies. Until then, you guys enjoy your weekend.